The Four Seasons of Hamadan is a duet for a violinist and a dancer that is about combining folkloric music and dance traditions from Persian and Jewish culture.
Kian's family is from Iran. My family is Jewish, going back many generations on both sides.
And so we thought, wouldn't it be a beautiful thing for us to invest in learning about each other's cultural heritage and then come together to create a piece about it? Hamadan is a city in present-day Iran, which is also thought to be the burial place of Esther and Mordecai from the Hebrew Bible. So it's kind of a meeting place between Persian and Jewish culture.
Every culture has a ritual that relates to each season. There is something universal about how we sort of mark these moments in time with ritual.
So I started learning setār. The setār is a Persian instrument. It's a long-necked lute. I also took lessons in klezmer composition, and I wrote dozens and dozens of klezmer tunes.
What I did is I took a lot of folk dances and then I abstracted them. Folk dances are dances that are done in a community setting. They're for anybody to participate in. They don't have an audience and a performer. For spring, we chose Nowruz, the Persian New Year, and we chose Purim from Jewish culture. It has a sweet, slow, meditative beginning, like ice melting, the very first blooms coming.
This movement, it's all about the ancestors of Persian classical music and Jewish music. A lot of the pieces that I learned on setār would often have a drone note that I returned to, and a lot of early klezmer music was accompanied on the cymbalom, playing a drone. So this movement harkens back to those traditions.
Tirgan is a holiday that has to do with bringing the rains, and Shavuot is a harvest holiday. The second movement is really fun and bold.
This is all about the dance music traditions. This piece switches back and forth between Persian and Jewish dance forms. And in Annie's choreography, the dancer is moving around as though they're walking past different street musicians, and they stop and dance because they can't help themselves.
Something really cool happened when I was working on the dance. I started to have this image of the dancer pushing a big pile of dried wheat on stage, wheat from the harvest.
Autumn is all about the vocal traditions of Persian and Jewish music. The violin is a cantor singing a prayer. This movement is very improvisatory. Both the violinist and the dancer have a lot of liberties in interpreting the timing.
Yalda is the winter solstice holiday. Hanukkah is a holiday that celebrates the miracle of light. The dancer brings on this very long strand of Christmas lights, and she circles the circle she's made with the wheat, which is sort of a callback to all of the circles in the choreography, all of the circles in folk dance, and also the circle of the seasons that we just go around and around again.
The last movement is a chaconne, which is a set of repeating chords, a kind of metaphor for the cycle of seasons. The chaconne theme comes back in Persian style, then in a Jewish style, then in a Persian style. It's all a metaphor for intercultural harmony.
I think the piece is really unique because of how the musician and the dancer interact with each other. The musician is equally moving around and sharing space. There is not a separation between accompanist and performer. And it's also really rare for a dancer to dance alone for this long. It's a pretty remarkable feat of athleticism to see someone on stage by themselves for 20 plus minutes.
One of my hopes for this piece was to push the boundaries of contemporary violin playing. So there's a lot that this music asks of the violinists. It asks them to play microtones, notes between the keys of the piano. It asks them to improvise a little bit, to switch rapidly between different dance forms.
You know, there's something sort of aspirational about this idea that two different cultures could weave together and make something more beautiful than could exist with each one on its own.
When this piece was premiered in LA, Israel and Iran were bombing each other. It was a really dramatic thing to confront. But if anything, it kind of underscored the importance of creating a piece that does demonstrate intercultural harmony in a time where politics makes it seem impossible.